Good day, everyone. Welcome to our lecture series on tax management for the Professional Examination Level 3 of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. In this particular subject, we have 10 topics to be covered, and the very first topic is strategic tax planning. Strategic tax planning. And in this topic, we have 4 subtopics to be covered. The first one is a definition of what tax planning is. The second area is tax planning and management strategies. The third one is taxation and present value analysis, while the fourth area is factors affecting tax planning. By the time we are through with all of these 4 areas, we will have some review questions at the end to test our knowledge of what we have learned. Let's go ahead now and take what we mean by tax planning. We have 2 definitions. The first one says this is an exercise undertaken to minimize tax liability. The key word there is tax liability through the best use of all available allowances, deductions, exclusions, and exemptions. We take it again. It is an exercise undertaken to minimize tax liability through the best use of available allowances, deductions, exclusions, and exemptions. That's the very first topic that we have. That's the very first definition of tax planning. The second the definition says it is a conscious attempt by the taxpayer to arrange the financial affairs of the entity to arrive at increase in profit levels, yet reduce tax payable. We have 2 definitions given by the lecturer here. The first one again says it's an exercise undertaken to minimize tax liability through the best use of available allowances, deductions, exclusions, and exemptions, while the second one says it is a conscious attempt by the taxpayer to arrange the financial affairs of the organization to arrive at increase in profit levels, yet reduce tax payable. So any of these 2 definitions will suffice for tax planning. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the other areas. The objectives of tax planning are as follows. This is very important. Recall that all of our effort in tax planning is summed up in one sentence: to maximize our profit as reduce our tax liability. So now let's take the objectives of tax planning. The first one says to delay or defer the payment of tax within legal period allowed. Second one says to reduce the applicable tax rate. The third one says increase the allowable deductions and exemptions, while the fourth one says reduce taxable income. Those are the 4 objectives of tax planning. The second area we'll look at in this topic is tax planning and management strategies. Tax planning and management strategies. What is a management strategy? We have defined it as an action plan designed to enable an organization achieve its corporate goals. Again, a management strategy is an action plan designed to enable an organization achieve its corporate goals. So, having defined what a management strategy is now, let's now look at the relationship between tax planning and management strategy. A sound tax planning system is itself a management strategy to be adopted by organizations which desire to effectively compete in this generation. This is because a robust tax planning system will avail an organization the benefits inherent in tax planning, which were highlighted above in 1A. Here, we are saying that by embarking on sound tax planning, you will enjoy the benefits that we have listed in item 1A, which are, again, quickly, let's take it again, which are 1, to delay or defer the payment of tax within legal period allowed. to reduce the applicable tax rate. The third one is to increase allowable deductions and exemptions. The fourth one is to reduce taxable income. So, for any organization that desires to compete in this business world now, as a management strategy, they must adopt sound tax planning to effectively compete in this business world. Let's go ahead again with the other materials. Tax planning and management strategies cover all legal avenues that can be adopted to enjoy the objectives of tax planning. The objectives of tax planning, as stated above, can be achieved through the following measures. This is very important. That is, for all we have said about tax planning now, how can we embark on tax planning? We have listed them as 1. Increasing allowable deductions. 2. Decreasing taxable income. 3. Deferring the payment of tax. 4. Enjoying all concessions available. 5. Converting taxable incomes to tax-free gains. Then 6. Income splitting. These 6 areas are the measures by which we can enjoy tax planning. Let's have a look at them again. 1. By increasing allowable deductions. 2. By decreasing taxable income. 3. By deferring the payment of tax. 4. By enjoying all concessions available from tax authority. 5. By converting taxable incomes to tax-free gains. The 6th one is income splitting. The next area in the topic says taxation and present value analysis. Taxation and present value analysis. Present value analysis is the application of an appropriate discount rate to a stream of future cash flows. It allows different payment streams to be compared. Let's take it again. PV analysis is the application of an appropriate discount rate to a stream of future cash flows. It allows different payment streams to be compared. What this means is that for tax now, we can equally apply different discount rates to our tax liability to determine which one will favor us and which one will not favor us. What this means is that by the time we determine our tax liability now, we can make a provision for it, either to pay now or to pay later. To pay now or to pay later. The idea is we are trying to determine which methodology of tax payment, either now or in the future, will give us more taxable profit and less tax liability. That is the relationship between tax and present value analysis. The fourth area in this topic says basic principles of tax planning. Basic principles of tax planning. Let's take it again. It must be noted that for an individual or corporate entity to engage in tax planning and management, a sound knowledge of tax legislations is paramount. That is, for you as an individual or as the tax advisor of a particular organization now, for you to engage in a robust tax planning strategy, you must have a sound knowledge of tax laws and codes. Thus, to engage in meaningful tax planning, a knowledge of the following is imperative. That is, before we can engage in meaningful tax planning now, we need to have a knowledge of the following matters. The first one, list of taxes and levies approved by the government. Second one, timing of filing tax returns, that is, corporate income tax due date, personal income tax due date, withholding tax due date, and dates for value-added remittances. The third one, timing of fixed asset acquisition. The fourth one, timing of fixed assets disposal. The fifth one, hiring of assets. The sixth one, making specific provisions rather than general provisions. The seventh one, taking advantage of various tax incentives and bonus, e.g., pioneer company status, rural investment allowance, investment tax credit, export processing zone, EPZ allowances, etc. What we are saying in this particular subtopic, which deals with basic principles of tax planning, is that for you to engage in meaningful tax planning as tax advisor to a particular company, or as a taxable or as a taxable person, you must have a sound knowledge of the issues that will be said before us. And these are that we must have a knowledge of all the taxes and levies approved by the government to know which one is applicable to us, either as an individual or as a corporate entity. The second one says timing of filing tax returns. What this means is that for a company, let's take a company as an example now. For a company now, it must file its tax returns on or before June 30 of every year. Any filing done after June 30 of every year will result in tax penalties to be paid, which is not a reason for engaging in tax planning. For an individual now, going by the new Personal Income Tax Act, you must file in your tax returns for every year on or before January 31st of every year. What this means is that if by 31st January of a year, by February 1st or 2nd or March or April, you are yet to file your returns for the previous year, you will be paying a penalty for late return. Equally, for withholding taxes, you must know that you are required to file in your withholding tax for a particular transaction in any month 30 days after that transaction has occurred. Likewise, for value-added taxes now, there are dates that we must keep in mind if we want to engage in meaningful tax planning. The next item talks about fixed asset acquisition and disposal. You recall that there are allowances that you can gain for acquiring assets and disposing them. These are issues that we must face. These are issues that we must know if we want to engage in meaningful tax planning. For hiring of assets, you must bear in mind that the hire charge is an allowable expense, okay? So if you must hire an asset now, you must factor in this issue into your tax planning strategy. The next one says making specific provisions rather than general provisions. Tax authority will not allow general provisions. Tax authority will not allow general provisions. What they will allow is specific provisions. So, if we want to engage in meaningful tax planning, we must make efforts to make specific provisions rather than general provisions. And of course, as a company, we have so many tax incentives and bonuses that we can plug into. Some of them include pioneer company status, rural investment allowance, investment tax credit, EPZ allowances. So, for us to engage in meaningful tax planning, we need to have an idea of all these issues that we have listed before us. The last point in this topic says factors affecting tax planning. Factors affecting tax planning. And we have listed them as 1. Residential status. 2. Type of income involved. 3. Current legal position. The fourth one is availability of tax incentives. Let's take them one after the other. The first one says residential status. What this means is that the taxpayer, either as an individual or a company now, is it an individual that has permanent residence within the country or is based in the diaspora? You recall that if you are based in the country, you have allowances that you can claim or that you can claim in your tax returns. And even if you are based outside of the country too, you can equally claim the double taxation relief. So the resident status of an individual matters when you are planning your tax strategy. Equally for companies too, we must bear in mind that companies that are residents have areas that they can plug into for their tax planning strategy. Likewise, those who are outside of the country, they have areas that they can plug into as tax planning strategy. The second factor talks about type of income involved. In this instance, we are referring to are the incomes taxable or not? Are the incomes taxable or not? Are they tax exempted? Are they tax exempted? So if it's a tax exempted income, good for us, we'll enjoy the income. And if it's otherwise, we have to pay the tax liability on the income. The third one talks about current legal position. This means that what is the extant legal provision on that particular item. For instance, the personal income tax law that has just been amended now, it makes a provision for consolidated relief allowance, whereas the previous tax law does not make a provision for it. So we must consider the current legal provision on that particular item in our tax planning strategy. And the last one that we have under factors affecting tax planning talks about availability of tax incentives. That is, do we have tax bonuses now? Do we have tax bonuses? Bonuses that we can leverage upon, bonuses, allowances that we can key into as our tax planning strategies. So, those are the factors that affect tax planning.